Hello. Today I'm doing two verses because I wanted to, in my pattern, I get through five days of the Greek. And in order to get through the paragraph this week, or the paragraph I did, I need to do two verses on one day. Today is the day. So first of all, as usual, see if you can pronounce the Greek using whatever pronunciation you want. I'm going to use the Erasmian pronunciation. So, kai tauta epon, leponton, auton, eperthe, kai nephele, hupelaben, auton, apo, ton, ophthalmon, auton. Okay, verse 9. And now verse 10. Kai hos atenidzontes esan, eis ton uranon, poromenu, autu, kai edu, Andres duo parestekesan autois en aesthesisi lukais. Okay, so some tongue twisters there, or maybe it's just later in the day. Okay, I've done the interlinear in two parts, first verse 9 and then verse 10. So let's start with verse 9. So, kai tauta epon, leponton auton eperthe. Okay, what is this? Kai, hopefully you know by now, is and. Tauta is these things. It's worth memorizing because it's all over the New Testament. Tauta. These, it's the demonstrative pronoun, these, and it's a neuter plural alpha. So it's these things. We have to come up with the things. But the reason I know it's things is because this is a neuter plural ending. And things are neuter plural. Epon, these things having said, so that's an aorist participle. We'll talk about that when we get to the parsing. So these three words go together. And having said these things, as you know by now, the order is not anything like you might expect in English. And having said these things, now these two words go together. This is what's called a genitive absolute. We have a noun or pronoun in the genitive. That's a genitive plural. And then we have a participle in the genitive, and they match. And then my aunt is an active participle, which told me that this was a participle. There are exceptions to almost every cliche I have, but it gets us in the door. So, and having said these things, them seeing or them watching, so it's not seeing them, it's them seeing. The pronoun or noun in the genitive becomes the subject in a genitive absolute. Them seeing, he was taken up. So theta eta tells me it's aorist passive. So it's not he took up, but he was taken up. We'll parse this in the next slide. Anyway, let's keep going, shall we? So, and a cloud, nephele. Seems like there's some English word with nephele, but maybe not. And a cloud received him or took him away from the eyes of them. Ophthalmologist, does that look familiar? This is aorist. A nu with an epsilon in front of it is almost always a movable nu. Woo, throw it away, it's not anything. Epsilon is very common, third person singular, active, past tense ending. That's an augment. Augments never come before, when it's compound, hupo plus lambano. The augment always comes after the preposition on the front. So anyway, it's aorist. And a cloud took him away from their eyes, finally. Oh, okay, that's verse 9. Now, parsing. So epon is an aorist active participle. How do I know that? Now, first of all, you might have thought, let's say you've had beginning Greek and you got participles. You might have thought, oh, own, own is a nominative masculine singular ending. Good so far. Of course, own can also be a genitive plural. We saw a genitive plural own, unfortunately. So here's a genitive plural own. What's the difference? Well, there's no aunt. If this was a ponton, then it would be genitive. But epon, this is the first kind of participle ending you learn, the basic ing. In fact, usually it's on a present tense. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, why is that on an aorist? What makes this aorist? Well, even though own goes on the present tense, it's technically the stem that tells you the tense. And this ape here, this ape is aorist. The ape is aorist. So I know it's aorist because the stem is aorist. It's a second aorist. It's an irregular aorist. At some point, I'm going to make a video going through the 10 or 13 most common irregular aorists in Greek. But I know it's aorist because the ape is aorist. So it's aorist, active participle, nominative masculine singular, and it's from Lego. It's irregular. See, it's irregular. Lego doesn't look anything like apone. Who knew? It's just languages are messy. Okay, bleponton. This one is genitive, masculine plural. Same ending, but the aunt has intervened. My aunt is an active participle. This the nominative masculine singular doesn't have all that stuff. Participles are like the third declension noun. Third declension nouns, basically, took all the nouns. The Greeks got together one day and they said, hey, we need to classify these nouns. We're Greeks. No, they didn't do that. But anyway, you had first declension, second declension, and all the rest of them they put in a third group called the third declension. And what is distinctive about the third declension is that it's a jack-in-the-box declension. When it's the subject, when nominative means the subject, when it's nominative, it's really short. But as you go to the other cases, out pops some letters. So the aunt pops out, so this is genitive plural. Genitive masculine plural ending own. My aunt is an active participle. Present because it's built off the same letters. It's built off the present stem. So yay. Okay, it's a genitive absolute again. You may be noticing by now that Luke likes genitive absolutes. This is like the third or the fourth genitive absolute we've had in these first few verses. And at other times, you can't even find them. So Luke likes them. Okay, because it doesn't have a the on it, doesn't have an article on it, it's probably adverbial. It is. Genitive absolutes are a circumstantial adverbial participle, as we've said before. In other words, they tell you the circumstances. So it's while they're looking, two men in white robes appeared. Okay. This is a challenge. Eperthe. So the theta eta tells me it's aorist passive and indicative. And then it's third singular because it goes on se. So if it was thane, it would be first person singular. I was taken away. If it was thais, it would be second person singular. You singular were taken away. But with the bl, nothing, no ending, it's third person singular. He, she, or it was taken away. In this case, it's Jesus, so he was taken away. Now, so to figure out what the word is, we have the epsilon, we have the p. The theta eta is part of the aorist passive, so it's not part of the vocab word form of the word. This eta basically has come from this. It's irregular. But alphas do lengthen to etas. And then the iota said, I'm out of here. Anyway, it's irregular. A little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, here's another one. It's lobbing you an aorist. So lambano is one of the words you learn early on in Greek often. And lob is its irregular aorist. It loses the mu, it loses the on. Anyway, but the hoop, there it is. See the hoop, there it is. Anyway, augments always go after the compound. And a nu with an epsilon in front of us, a movable nu, epsilon, third person singular, past tense ending, it's aorist. Okay, so now we have to go on to verse 10. Sorry this is taking so long, but I wanted to cram 2 verses in today to keep up with my schedule. Okay, so verse 10, and as they were attending, okay, this is a construction known as a periphrastic. You have a form of the verb to be and an ing word. We do it in English too. They were watching. They were paying attention. They were attending. Looking intently. I used attending because A-T-E-N, it has a lot of the same letters. I'm sure these are related words historically. We're all one big happy Indo-European family, after all. Uranos is not only a planet, Uranus, but it's also the Greek word for sky. So, and as they were watching intently into the sky, anyway, it's just like English. We're watching. Here's another genitive absolute. What is it with Luke and genitive absolutes? Him going, Jesus going. A genitive absolute is when you have a noun or pronoun. It's a pronoun, personal pronoun, the genitive. and a participle in the genitive, the pronoun becomes the subject, and this becomes the verb, while he was going, something like that. And behold, Andres, two men, two guys, duo, dynamic duo, Batman, Robin, that's easy enough. Andres, andragogy, teaching adults. It's another one. Androgyny. No, never mind. Okay, so it is related, but I won't go into it. So, and as attending they were into the sky, as they were watching the sky, as they were looking intently into the sky, Jesus going, him going, and behold, two men had appeared to them in garments white. This is a fun one. You don't see many of these. Oh, I've never seen a pluperfect lately. This is called a pluperfect. It is fun, a wonder to behold, and the had comes from the pluperfectness of it. It's a very rare form. This is one of those you wanted to sell on eBay. Say, I want to sell Parastekesan on eBay. See if you can get a nickel out of it. Anyway, the two men had appeared to them in garments white. Well, let me go on to the next page where we do the parsing, and we can rip apart some of these forms. So this is a paraphrastic construction. As I said, they were looking intently. The looking intently part, it's just it's from atenizo, so all the letters are there. It's present. My aunt is an active participle. S is a nominative masculine plural ending. Arkonantas, antianta, antes, anton, usi, antas. Okay, an ason is the imperfect of a me. They were. It's indicative. Doesn't really have a voice. It's not really active or middle or passive. It just led. It's a being verb. Okay. Poru omenu. As you can see, it's from peruomai. Oh my, it's deponent. If it has an oh my in the dictionary form, then we know that it has middle and passive endings, but it's actually active in meaning. So it's middle deponent because it has an oh my in the dictionary form. So men are passive or men are middle, but it's just in form. It's active in meaning. You can't really make going into a passive anyway. So it's present because all the letters of the present are there. It's middle deponent because men are passive or middle. Participle. Men are passive participles or middle. Genitive masculine singular. Okay. Another genitive absolute. He's done it again. What's with this, Luke? Let's see if this persists throughout the rest of Acts. Okay, now for this fun one here. This is from paristemi, which is a me verb, which strikes fear. I need to do a video on me verbs too. But anyway, son. When we're really confused, or the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But let's start at the end and move back. So let me start with son. Do I know a song with a son in it? I do. It goes like this. On es amen eta on ore son. Okay, I'm going to take the son as a third person plural because they had appeared. The two white men in white clothing had appeared. Okay, so this is third person plural, son. The epsilon iota is what tells me it's pluperfect. You don't memorize that in beginning Greek because there are so few pluperfects around. But I've done my homework once upon a time, and that is the sign of the pluperfect. The kappa is a sign of the perfect stem. So it's actually the kappa, epsilon, iota together that make it pluperfect. The kappa is perfect, and then the epsilon iota is pluperfect or past. Pluperfect means past perfect. That means that the action began at a certain point in the past, it continued, and then it stopped. Or why he uses a pluperfect, I don't know, because there's no reason to. But anyway, he's allowed. He's Luke. He knows Greek. So you can see the par on the front. If I get my cursor to come up, that's the preposition para. And so the core of this word is standing right here. Ha ha ha. Histemi means to stand. So the stay is, you can see it has the letters of stand, some of them. So the epsilon iota is some kind of weird reduplication on the front. The perfect gets a little beside itself often and then uses an epsilon. Okay, this is too much. If you haven't had any Greek before, don't worry. You know, life will go on. Last word. This is a noun, but it's a weirdo. So if you know your noun endings, archon antas, anti anta, antes anton, u si antas. So the si is a dative plural ending. This is a third declension noun that's a little bit of weird. You can see that the esthase is a lot shorter than this. Third declension nouns, letters pop out. Out pop some letters. And in this case, the letters that pop out are the sigma, and the epsilon. But this is dative. It's feminine just because I've memorized it. Actually, a lot of these epsilon, sigma ones are feminine. But anyway, it's plural. It means basically clothing. Okay, well, let me just mention a couple video helps that I have out there on participles. This was a participle intense day, so feel free to go to YouTube to find these links on how participles work and participle forms. They cover a lot of the same ground. This one is about 32 minutes, I think. This one's a little shorter, 20-something, 21, 22. But we'll see you next time.